You've reached the podcast I'm Not Actually a Gas Station Attendant. If you'd like to hear part 2 of the Bev Clone interview, please press 1.
Hey, you just heard Ian, it's Rich. We're really just kind of doing a recorded intro simply because the first episode we kind of hurriedly put out in hopes of having it sort of line up with the release date for the Bev Clone discography, which if you like Bev Clone, you should definitely order the tape discography. I would say order the lathe cut, but that's gone. But yeah, you can order it on Beginner's Tapes or on Council Records, and they're almost out at both places, so you should check that out. And just real quickly, just to sort of add a little editorial to this, I just wanted to say that it was really great speaking with Carl and Ben and Jim. I ended up having the good fortune of going to Chicago a couple of weeks ago to see Verbal Assault with some good old friends of mine. Most of them probably, if not all of them, have been mentioned on the podcast. But I also had the good fortune of seeing Jim at the show, and it was really nice. And he's just a great dude. Ben was actually going to ride with me. But anyways, the editorial part of it, I guess, is just Tom the singer. He died several years ago, and it really just it makes you think about how short life is. It's just a shame that they're getting some attention at this moment, and he isn't able to bask in that shine in the way that Scott and Ben and Jim and Carl are able to. Rest in power, Tom, and here is the second episode. And then the famed story of Jim McInerney having stage fright in a toilet in a McDonald's on the Windsor side of Detroit. Like he was super grumpy that whole trip. I mean, that's Jim. He was grumpy.
Yeah. Where were you guys going to play at?
It was that fest in Toronto. I'm pretty sure you were there too. Yeah,
I was there. Yeah, I went through Flint. Or no, I went with. That's the thing. We were supposed to play together with you guys the night before that in Flint, right? And you guys played. We didn't. We canceled. And then I went with you guys with Billy, who was driving. Yeah. To Detroit, to the Trumbleplex for another show. Yeah. And then we went to Toronto, I think.
There was some crazy hotel with 10 or something people in one room. And,
yes. That was I didn't remember you being there, but you had to have been. Yeah.
We drove all the way to Toronto the next day.
I wasn't there. I was staying at a home in Dearborn with Christopher and Billy and somebody else, but.
Yes, because Andy Cornell and Jim and Joe and Jim McInerney and I think you were there, Carl, and maybe sure. Ben, but I
think he must.
Ian started laughing for no reason, and it turned into this chain reaction where everybody was just cracking up for absolutely no reason. It was just it just happened, and it's probably one of the more memorable moments in my life, how we Ian got a room of 5 or 6 dudes to just laugh until they're crying and not even really know why they were laughing. Well, and what I also remember is Jim McInerney was guys, he was grumpy about it. He's shut the fuck up, stop it, and then eventually he starts laughing.
Yeah, couldn't escape it, huh?
Yeah. That was fun. But did you move to Milwaukee shortly after Bev Clone broke up, Jim?
Yeah, I did. Remember when Christopher moved over there? He was like, "Hey man, come over here. It's cool. We'll start a band, and I got this girlfriend for you all set up." And and I was like, "Okay, I'll go." Nothing worked out. The girlfriend definitely didn't work out. The band was kind of cool, but his ex was the singer, Carrie, and that didn't work out. And they didn't work out. And I don't know. It's just a year of not working out. So I don't know, man. I did live in Milwaukee. Got beat down one night just walking down the street.
Oh no, really?
I know, not a good place. It's like a mini Chicago with all the grump and angst in the littler space, you know.
It's kind of like if the South Side of Chicago, like, never really stopped, like, never got gentrified at all. Like, there's like old school bowling alleys where like old fat Polish dudes hang out and drink beer and bowl and shit.
Yeah,
Like,
Milwaukee's
I kind of like that about it.
No, it is cool. It's like the old days of good old clubs and Elks Lodges and bowling and VFWs, and that was like the
Union
social
halls and
shit.
shit.
Yeah.
Polish Falcon Hall.
I don't know. I mean, you know, Milwaukee is just the same as Chicago or as Detroit. Kalamazoo is just now a lot of the similar violence and nasty shit's going on in all those places. It's just the same. You know? That's how it is in our region right now. But it's a cool city. I don't know how many bands were that good from there, but I remember Animal Farm. Never saw them.
Yeah.
You guys play with them, right?
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, we did. We played the Sprague Street Basement with them and Krugos.
That was probably the best band from Milwaukee. That didn't last that long, you know, Animal Farm.
Yeah, there's Damn It All. Yeah, Damn It All. Well, I guess kind of the Promise Ring was from Milwaukee, I guess, kind of.
Yeah, well, we're talking about punk and hardcore.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed.
Right on.
No argument from me.
Thank you.
Was Makara? Were they from Milwaukee?
Minneapolis.
No.
You're in Santa Cruz, right? With James and them?
Yeah. That was after they had all moved to California.
Right.
I think you move out with them, Jim?
No, it took me a little more time to get out there, but when I got out there, Carrie was out of the picture. She had moved up top with James and them, and tried to keep that band going. Makara, I never saw them, never heard it, but I figured it was probably okay if James was in it. You know what I mean? Like
it was good.
The
What I remember most, I think I have one of their 7-inches, but like they had maybe it was the demo or it was maybe their 7-inch, but there's a feedback track that runs through the whole record.
I remember that.
Like just the whole time that it's playing, there's a which I'm sure had to be intentional, but
Those guys got me the highest I've ever been in my life. When I moved to Cali, I wasn't a pothead or nothing, but I kicked it for a weekend with James and Al and Chris, and they got me so high, dude, that I was just like, wow. There's a different side to the world, you know. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, they're cool dudes. I keep in touch with James a little bit, or follow, you know, comments and hello, likes and that shit. But I don't know.
Looks like he's going through some surgery or something. Like I guess.
Yeah, I want to ask him as he's just trying to skateboard. Or how do you keep damaging yourself? You know, I don't know.
I think it's drumming. Yeah.
Oh, he's still drumming. That's cool. That guy can play a lot of beats per minute.
It's true.
Right? Like, dude, those guys were crazy. They got so red and sweaty and geeked out, and I'm like, man, I want to move to Cali. If all the bands from Cali are like this, I want to go out there and see what's up, you know? High energy and just kind of wackiness.
Wait, are we talking about Jenny Piccolo?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, where the fuck were they from?
Santa Cruz.
They're from Santa Cruz.
San
I
Jose.
swear to God, every time I see something from them, they're like, yeah, we're from Cupertino. We're from somewhere else. I was like,
well, technically, they were originally from Cupertino.
Right, that's where they grew up, and then they had the band in Santa Cruz. But who can afford to live in Santa Cruz, you know? So I don't
Yeah.
anymore.
Or Cupertino, for that matter.
Yeah, every time when I go over to Cupertino, I can't believe that like Jenny Piccolo was from there. I'm like, where?
No,
where?
Where are you at, Ian?
I'm in San Jose.
Okay, so you're in that. Yeah, who can afford to fucking live there now? You think back then, you know, maybe might have been cheaper, but nah, it's hard up there, dude. Oakland, it's impossible. Frisco, I don't know, it's weird.
Well, and going back
James, I think he's in Sacramento now. I don't know how the scene is over there, but I think he's a DJ, isn't he?
I think he does that, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does. Yeah, and from my understanding, a lot of people move to Sacramento because it's, being that it's not very close to the ocean, it's a lot more affordable for some reason.
Yeah.
But like, if you look at old like Mohinder records, the mailing address is Cupertino.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then they moved to moved from. I guess it was probably the closest. Is Santa Cruz the closest city to that?
It's the closest. Yeah, it's the closest beach.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
We just went out there on Friday. Yeah, we went to the beach. That's worthy of the podcast. I should have said that. I went to the beach. That's my contribution to this. Thank you.
Do you remember that?
Good job, Ian. If you don't go to the beach as a Californian, you're missing out on the whole point.
Yeah, for sure. What did band? I feel like you did a band with Justin Pearson and Chris after you got to San Diego, but like I don't think it had legs.
Nope. Here's what happened. We were like, I don't know, JP was in Locust still. Christopher had maybe Crimson Curse wasn't a real band. They played a couple shows, but it wasn't a real band. They weren't playing. It was they wanted to start something else, and I was like, well, I got us this practice space. I met some people and got a little practice space in San Diego downtown, and they're like, well, can we practice there? I'm like, yeah, come on through. And we kind of started a band. And it could have been cool. It was kind of like just kind of mathy and kind of grindy and just a little noisier than the stuff that JP does or I do or any. It was different. It was cool, but never got off the ground. Just whatever.
Did you have a name for it? Or?
A Sick Cult. But we didn't even have a song, so it doesn't matter.
I don't remember. Like I remember being in touch with you guys at that point in time when you'd moved to California.
Right.
But like I remember I think Chris sent me a picture, like kind of a like weird press photo.
Right. JP used to get all these free coupons from Olin Mills, and he would take all his bands that he was going to time over there just to use them. So they're like,
I remember that.
Nope, it's a free photo. We just want that one free photo. And he had a whole collection of them, man. All his bands, all his friends, Crazy.
God, that's amazing.
So Christopher took his guitar, JP took his bass. I had like a Tom or something lame.
I remember
We were trying to look kind of mean and tough.
Yeah.
There's like a backdrop, like that Olin Mills.
Totally. It was Olin Mills.
Backdrop behind
No,
it.
that band never panned out. But me and Christopher, we was still playing. Eventually got another band. But whatever.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about that. No, we don't want to. No, it's cool. I'll devote 10 seconds to Tristeza. We got a new record coming out. It's a new old record recorded in 2013 to 2015 at Christopher's studio. And it's coming out.
Nice.
And when? Ask him.
Who's putting it out?
Ask him.
Well, and now we're just kind of old friends reminiscing. But do you remember that time that and we've talked about this on the podcast before, but we had a sleepover at Marie's house, I think after some show possibly in Grand Rapids, or I don't remember, but we ended up having a sleepover and Gord was with us. Gord,
we got to go to Marie's house, her parents' house up there in Walker.
And Andy Cornell, the notorious sleepwalker and sleep talker, and actually sleep terrors. We're like Ian and I are just like have this agreement that we're not going to tell anyone that Andy has night terrors because we wanted to see how everyone reacts to it. And so we're all laying on the floor at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and all of a sudden we're all awakened by Andy screaming at the top of his lungs like someone was like pulling his fingernails off or something. And I just remember Gord being like, "What the fuck is going on?" Like that kind of like his I mean, I can't do a French Canadian accent, but that's if anyone's listening, that's what I was trying to do.
I thought it was pretty good. It was right on for Gordon anyway. That what the fuck?
Now, Gordon was the first person I ever met that was like bilingual. It's weird, when you're from Saginaw or just some kind of just, you know what I mean? Not that cultural place. You don't know people like that. And I met Gordon, he spoke French perfect, and you know what I mean? I was like, cool, man. It's a bigger world out there,
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely. But I just all those nights, like it's weird how much time he spent in Michigan with us actually, because I mean he lived in Oakville, which was like probably 4 or 5 hours from, if not more, from where we were.
Yeah, it was a drive.
No, that was a weird thing in those years, though, man. Like the Canada or the Ontario, Michigan scene was pretty good. Bands would go both ways nonstop.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
To go play on grounds or wherever, just going back and forth, and it was like a cool kind of connection. And he got into that, I think, through Chokehold people or Great, you know, those guys that were going back and forth. And he kind of just was like, "Yeah, I want to go over there and see what's up." And he was like, not that far, so you know, he got in probably to shows in Detroit and other places that were near there, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, there was that kind of like Great Lakes connection with like Toronto and Michigan and Ontario and Michigan and New York State, like all the upstate New York towns that had scenes and stuff. We'd all kind of see them.
You could cut across Canada way more easily at that point.
Yeah, back before you needed a passport to get across the...
Yeah, that's a big deal, man. Think about it. For bands with 6 or 5 people who didn't have passports, now, you got to have all those passports, and that's $180 each or whatever, you know. It's And now in Canada, I've heard, I haven't played there in a while, but I've heard that there's new restrictions, you know, fees for bands and trying to preserve the Canadian economy by having Canadian bands play. Well, if you're an American band, you're going to have to pay this or...
Yeah, we used to do a lot of fake documentation back then.
Yeah. I remember Gord sending us a fake
recording
contract.
Yeah, we're gonna make a album in Canada for $500.
Yeah, so we were paying the Canadians; they weren't paying us, so they let us through. You know.
Well, and it's funny because I wasn't in the van with I rode with Dusty and Andy Cornell in a separate vehicle, which that's an ongoing theme. Like, we didn't get along very well in Constantine, so whenever we could take separate vehicles, we did. But
every time.
But I remember we got across the border and I think we all reconvened said at that McDonald's in Windsor. And I went up to Joe. I'm like, "Hey, did you have to give them the contract?" He's like, "No, they didn't even ask." Okay, go through.
You're right, Rich. It was separate vehicles because the other vehicle was me and Christopher and Billy and Christopher's girlfriend, Carrie.
Oh yeah, was Carrie with?
And we rolled in through the bridge in Windsor and. Billy played it so cool. He was, we're just going to play with some friends, hang out, celebrate the New Year's. You know, we're like, all right, have a good one. Just gonna go jam with some friends of Billy style with that special smile. You know,
sweet talk, the way only Billy could.
Totally.
I remember. I remember playing out in New Jersey with Daredevil, Billy's band with the Indian Summer Guys, and it was middle of July. It was super hot, so we played in Tom's River at the 508 House, and after that show, we all went to this country club to go sneak in and jump in the pool and go swimming and stuff, and Billy, was being himself. I wish I could remember what he was saying, but he was kind of ribbing Scott from Bev Clone quite a bit about whatever his profile looked like in the pool or something. All right, that's Billy Sprague, man.
He's like, "What are you guys doing? Checking out my package?"
I thought Scott would take his shirt off or something.
That all sounds right.
I'm making fun of him.
Yeah, that was
crazy because we were all kind of reserved and they were all being crazy and just getting naked and we were all like, "Ooh,
yeah,
we got shirts on in the pool and stuff."
Yeah.
Kalamazoo kids definitely had a thing about showing their penises.
Oh, they love getting naked, yeah.
Ian and I are reserved too. We were just I'm I don't even taking my shirt off. I'm chubby, but
yeah, exactly.
Chris is just I'm gonna get naked. Yeah. I remember there were so many trips where that would happen, and it'd just be I'm just gonna. I'm feeling wild tonight, so I'm going to take off my shirt. Or that Fest in Indy, Ian, where you got really wild and took your T-shirt off.
I did, yes. Yeah, you heard it here first.
During Jihad, while everyone else was nude.
Yeah.
You were just...
You met him halfway.
Yeah, give him a little bit.
That's a good move.
Always leave them wanting more.
I think you guys have talked about that Indie Fest on the podcast before.
Yeah.
Those kids got naked, and some other band took their clothes and like
abnegation
toilets or something.
Oh my
God, that was abnegation, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, we ran into them on the Agna tour.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, but I think we played a house show with them in College Park, but they had somebody named Forbes in the band. Have you guys
no, that's not. I know Forbes is my buddy. No, that's not abnegation. That's amalgamation.
Oh, that's the finer points of my memory. Then, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
actually, I hung out with Forbes.
I like Forbes.
Yeah, he's a great dude.
You're the go-to guy for that shit, Rich. You know that, right? You know the details, the finer points.
I guess, I joke about it, but I guess being straight edge for most of my life, it's kind of like, I don't have the fog that most of my friends do.
That's right. Yeah, I think sometimes I'm somewhere between those, crust punks in Grand Rapids, who can't remember through the show, and somewhere else down the line with my memory. I had forgotten that we didn't play that show in Detroit with you guys in 3 Studies in Coleman, where the singer of Coleman had bloodied herself with the microphone, and all kinds of other stuff was going on. I think there was an Aragorn showdown or situation.
Yes.
Stuff.
That was the show before going to Canada, right?
It was.
Hey, do you guys think that's worth mentioning? The Aragorn moment, the calling out Matt Weeks for selling records.
It wasn't actually Aragorn though. It was what was that woman that there was 2 women that hung. What's that?
Shayna.
Shayna. No, it wasn't Shayna. It wasn't Shayna, but it was Mary. Yeah, I think it was Mary. She did a spoken word. Because we were always the band we'll let you do a spoken word either before or after we play. And we kind of talked about this because she totally right in front of our faces made fun of Joe. What was it? The thing. They're just making noise. I hate records.
Yeah, she was like, all these bands just scream, and she did a perfect impersonation of Joe and fell on her ass. And we were like, oh, we were doing the Simpsons collar pull. We're like, But then after our set, she was like, you guys were great. And we were like, okay.
No, were they like the stand-up comedians that weren't supposed to be funny, but we now think it's funny? Or, I don't know.
Kind of.
Yeah.
I think one of them wrote me I think Sheena wrote me a letter.
Right. She was the one she was involved, man. I remember. She said, you're making a lot of money off these records. And Matt was like, fuck, dude, I'm doing an indie label. I don't get nothing from it. Trying to defend himself. Yeah. And Aragorn was kind of on her side. Whatever, man. That shit's dumb. But we're young kids, young people.
Yeah.
Figuring out their politics.
These were the things that were disturbing us at the time.
Yeah. And hey, I seen Shayna in Portland 2 or 3 years later after that show. I'm like, hey, I remember you. I'm like, you seem a lot more low stress now. You seem more easygoing. She's like, yes, I am. I'm sorry. I was a stress ball back then. I wasn't very cool. I'm more easygoing now. I'm like, right on. Well, that's progress.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But one of them, it was either, it might have been Mary or it might have been Sheena. I remember getting a letter towards the end of Constantine Sincati where they were like, we really want to work with you guys. I don't know where the idea that they were going to work with us came from. but
management or booking?
I guess playing shows where we might play music and then they would do spoken words. I don't know. But anyways, the whole thing was, we really want to work with you guys, but you have to stop being friends with Aragorn.
Oh, no. Really?
Which, I mean, honestly, at that point, I wasn't friends with Aragorn. He had moved to California, and there was all kinds of, drama, as we all remember. Not
Yeah.
to bring too
Aragorn
much of
was-
that up, but
He got run out of town.
Yeah, he
No,
was run out of time.
I ran into him when I moved to Cali, dude. I took a bus from Greyhound from Saginaw to Frisco, and I ran into Aragorn. The next day, I was there in Frisco, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm just here. I'm buying some clothes for my girlfriend." He was like at a thrift store or something, just buying these shirts and looking at them, and he's like. He was really weird, man. I was like, dude, you seem like you're drugged out or something, bro. Like, what's going on? Why are you so crazy? I don't know. It was mental, dude.
He was probably a little
yeah.
shell-shocked from the drubbing he got in Michigan.
Right, yeah. Maybe it was.
Yeah.
It was weird, dude. It was weird, but,
Mental health doesn't get talked about a lot,
Nope,
but
nope.
like we all. I mean, I know I've got my mental health stuff for especially the last couple of years, and I often wonder when I think about Aragorn. I think like maybe he had some manic kind
No,
of.
dude, yeah. I want to know, like, what happened? Why?
oh,
was
he had so much like trauma from his childhood. Like the thing we all know about him, and he wrote about it in a zine, so I don't feel bad putting this out there. Like he was molested. That's the only way I can find it. Like by his babysit, like by the people who paid him to babysit. Like he doesn't see at the time. He would not frame it as such because he was like, oh, I was a 14-year-old kid. I enjoyed having sex with this 30-something-year-old woman. But like,
a liberating thing.
yeah. But that's like, I have to believe there's a lot of like trauma on that,
And isn't that sort of thing always the root for mental illness and like meltdowns and you know what I mean? There's an issue. There's always a reason. It's like
Yeah.
Like a trigger, at least, and I mean, some of it's genetic, some of it's.
Right.
But that's one thing that doesn't get talked about a lot with our scene and stuff. And I think, to do the kind of stuff that we did as young kids in bands, you had to be a little mental.
Yeah.
A little bit.
We were also like trying to like express something that I think the larger culture was like, oh, don't act that way. But we're like, fuck this.
Yeah.
Like, we want to be emotional. We want to like really express the full range of this feeling.
Yeah.
And,
Oh
like,
yeah, 100%. People will joke about Constantine because of that. Because it's like, oh, he cried about being fat, or whatever. But like, the thing is like, I get it. Like, there's a lot of things I probably would do differently as a 47-year-old man. But like, at the end of the day, no one seems to like extend the simple grace of being like, oh yeah, he was, 19, 20 years old. Like, he's just trying to figure out what he, how he feels or what he, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's what it's all about, though. Taking the courage and doing that with people that you feel like you're a part of and can relate and feel safe around. You know what I mean? Like, those spaces are hard to find now. 20 years ago, maybe it was a little bit easier. You know what I mean? Like in our scene in the 90s and later. Now, who knows what's going on? It's like you got to be careful what you say.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, that's the other thing, what a 18-year-old kid ends up saying as an 18-year-old kid because you're just trying to figure it out. Like, man, if there was like the kind of documentation there is in real time that there is now.
Well, now they just let them buy an AR-15.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah, sorry to get all dark.
No, I think that's something that we kind of talk about, but we don't talk about a ton, which is like, because we, first of all, like, initially the scope of this podcast was like us, sort of working through conflicted relationships we had with a band, probably the most successful band that Ian and I did, and that happened when we were in our like late teens, early
don't count
20s.
Den out.
What's that?
Don't count Den out.
That's true. Den. No. I'm not saying the best music.
I know. I have one of those records. I think they're great, Ian.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, but like we we have a sort of a like conflicted relationship because you say things when you're a fucking kid that maybe. It's not even that I would say different. I wouldn't agree with the things I said for the most part. I think probably the one thing I would probably have not made a big hard line about was playing on stages thing. like sometimes I kind of wish like.
Hey, no, Riss, I get that. I will never play on a drum riser again in my fucking life, man. I'm not gonna do it. Stage drum riser, nah.
Yeah,
Ian prefers the floor as well. Like, didn't you say that Neil Young had said that he prefers that sort of setting as well, Ian? Or
yeah, probably. I don't know.
But you guys got a number? Can we call him and ask him?
Yeah, we'll patch him in. Yeah, we'll see if he's not doing anything.
Hey, can we call somebody? If you guys got anybody's number, let's make this interesting. Let's call somebody.
I have Chris's number, but he won't answer.
He won't answer. Yeah.
No, we'll talk about Christopher for a minute. I went and saw him, and he said you guys had a good jam, Ian. Was it a good jam?
It's called Scott right now. Like,
what did you guys do?
Right now.
We just dicked around basically in the studio.
In his
it's kind of krautrocky type stuff, right?
Yeah, just
what'd you think? Could you work in a place like that?
Could I work in a place like that?
That studio.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, it's wonderful.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great.
Didn't you say there was a dude with soiled underwear out in front?
No, there was a guy like almost completely nude, just punching his ass on the street corner, just vigorously. And there's dudes like 10 feet away working on their cars. Just they didn't care. This is everyday thing, no problem.
That's Oakland.
I was like, wow.
That's a real special place in Oakland, right there. Yeah. Anyways, no, I went to kick it with Christopher. He's doing good, man. He's out there getting ripped.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Fucking just healthy, way positive. Cool dude, man. Cool dude. Yeah. But the studio was just in a bombed out part of Oakland that has no life. You know, it's like, I get it, man. He doesn't go down there too much. He kind of lets people run the studio at this point. But it's just a bombed out part of Oakland that doesn't have no inspiration. You know, I got into a lot of trouble there, and I get it. It's like not a good area. You know, it's just weird. But now he's still doing his thing. In Richmond, California, in the East Bay.
Okay.
Pretty nice. Everybody's doing good, man. He's doing real good. I was still got to hang out, and I have to do band shit or no objectives. Just hang out as buddies, catch up. Yeah. You know, it's cool, man. Really cool. He's doing good. Yeah.
I'll bet that'd be nice if that was the case here. I feel like a punisher for these guys. I'm trying to get the podcast thing to work, but I'm so glad that they were able to come down.
No, this is better. Yeah. Being together as a crew as opposed to being in different places on a phone. You know, this is way better.
Yeah. Jim was just reminding me the last time that we were trying to arrange this, he was walking around LA like trying to save his data, and like I was like on the beach in Alabama, like oblivious, just like yo, I'm like longboarding on the fucking boardwalk.
Are you based out of Detroit right now still, Carl, or?
No, I'm like in Ann Arbor. I'm like on the outskirts of Ann Arbor, working for Washtenaw Community College. Like I got kind of a dope situation. Like it's pretty meager, but I'm in a good spot.
You were working for University of Detroit, right?
Yeah, I was working for UDM, and it was crazy because Jim we made this crazy connection at some point because I had forgotten that we played a show there back
at the grounds.
Back at the grounds. Like I didn't understand the connection there at all, but the grounds was a spot.
Yeah,
when we played there.
It was.
And, it's been dead for years, and UDM is a shit show of a place.
No, it was a spot back in the '90s. That was a place we opened up for Sleeper. There and
nice.
We played a good show, and we played. It was a cool show, good set, and it kind of got us a little in Detroit. You know, it was weird. We didn't play down there too much.
I think that's how we met Eric Z.
Eric Z booked that show.
Yeah.
Eric Z was the glue that kept Michigan together too, like for a long time. Like, it's a funny thing.
He got cool bands, like really good shit. Yeah. It's weird how.
And he wasn't like. He was willing to reach out to bands from the other side of the state and book them. Like, you know, it's a funny so I actually still stay in touch with him somewhat regularly. I think last year. What's that?
Tell him what's up. Hi, Eric.
Oh, totally.
Thanks for putting out our song on the Element comp back then. You know,
that's right.
Oh yeah. Well, so I hung out with him last year. I think my wife and I, my wife's friends with his wife, and so we'll when we're up in Michigan, if we can, we make it out to Dearborn and we hang out with him and his wife and his family. And I didn't know this, but he didn't actually go to University of Detroit. One of his friends went there and got him keys to the cafe. The cafe, like the cafe legit just didn't give a fuck. They were just like, okay, whatever. There's
That's awesome.
you know.
That's how low key it can be at that place.
Sure. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's a lot of how the scene sort of seemed to develop back then. Was just people were just
can
kind of
you get away
hijacking
with?
any kind of building they could find, put on a show.
Yeah.
You know, that might last a week or something.
Which is
But the
why
crowds
most of our
lasted
shows were in basements.
Yeah.
A lot of basements.
Yeah,
A lot of basement shows.
But
Do you guys remember the "Give Me Some Socks" Ponch story from the show in Jim's parents' basement?
no, what's this?
Oh, yeah.
Joe used to tell the story, so this is like secondhand.
Wait, is it the metal dude? The metal dude that?
No,
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 it has to do
no.
with
It was
Chris.
that same night. The metal dude was there. He was there.
Yeah.
You remember that guy, Jimmy Hart?
Zine, his Zine.
Yeah, he called
Yeah,
Zine, yeah.
Hey, you got any new Zines? Nah, man, I want to do a Zine one of these days. No,
Yeah, we didn't have the heart to correct him. You know,
No.
we were like, here's
Hey.
this metal dude who's into it. So cool, man.
Jimmy Hart.
He's a sweet.
Not the manager of wrestling, but the promoter from Saginaw, Jimmy Hart. No, Christopher, man, he's got the socks, or he needed socks, or I don't know, man. I was like,
Oh, I
guys-
vaguely remembered, but please go forward with this story.
well, that was in '95. He's still like that. He just at night when it's time to go to bed, he just gets wacky. He doesn't go to bed. He just gets wacky, you know. And he needed some socks, man. He had sweaty socks. He needed to freshen up. I don't know what it was, but
Yeah, I
Come-
think he
come-
just kind of yelled, "Give me some socks,
hey, Pancho, come here, man. Give me some socks. You got any socks?
I remember our like young kid energy really annoyed the shit out of your guests from University of Chicago.
Oh,
Like,
well, it's two different classes, you know. Punks and professionals.
yeah, we were like, I remember we were like, I was having a like, Joe's girlfriend was with us, and I was asking her questions about sex because I was still a virgin. Not in a like way of like trying to get hard, but I was just like, just in a like very like, I'm curious, how does anal sex work, you know, or something like that. And you could tell that they were just like, oh, what the fuck is wrong with these mutants? Like,
I do remember that you were like, gosh, really? About like everything, like when she would say like, oh, you do this, and you're like, oh gosh.
I don't know. Man. I was balls deep at that show. It was too late to go back. It was on. There was people there and freaks and evidence.
You were
and all
dealing
kinds
with
of
a lot of people at your parents' house.
no, we did all right. Hey, the fact that we both played pretty good sets, and it was pretty good show, right? Like it was a weird one. We played good. All the bands played good, and it was pretty cool, man.
yeah, it was a good show. And Ian and Joe got arrested on the way back from
Hey,
Saginaw.
I was just gonna ask you about that. He had some credit card fraud or something like.
I don't remember which one
Possibly. I
Like,
mean, that's a possibility. I think he had his license revoked.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know why. It wasn't
When
like
he was driving?
He was,
Yeah.
yeah, he was straight edge, so it wasn't like drinking and driving. I think it was
Right.
just too many speeding tickets, and we were literally like probably
even a mile
2
away.
miles from his
Yeah.
home,
Yeah.
and a cop pulls us off the highway, and is like, as soon as the cop pulls him over, it's like, all right, I'm going to jail today.
Oh, he knew he had a warrant then.
Yeah.
How'd you get home?
I believe I
Well-
drove.
Yeah, one of us who had a pretty good knowledge of a manual transmission, because what had happened is
Stick too.
Yeah. Yep.
we had
And what got
borrowed.
you in the car? I remember that.
Yeah, we had borrowed like Joe and Katie's roommate Jeff's Volkswagen like Rabbit, and I left them with my like really beat up Thunderbird 1978 Thunderbird.
The Dirty Bird.
And- yeah, the Dirty Bird. And
Nice.
but yeah, so Joe got arrested, and then like, and the other thing is Ian lost his glasses at a Wendy's in Owasso.
I know that fucking
Ian, that Owasso, hey, that Wendy's is still there. They probably still got them, man. Just
Okay, I'll head over there.
The seat somewhere.
As soon as Joe got released on his own recognizance, like he had called that Wendy's in Owasso, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we have the glasses. Just give me the address and we'll mail them to you." So like Ian got them back, but he went probably without his glasses.
And I think Joe actually eventually stepped on those and broke them, and then said he would fix them, and then never fixed
On a
them.
different show.
So it's fine.
Yeah, Joe is kind of like Sean Penn's character in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, where he like
I've got an awesome.
my dad
I've
has
got an awesome set of tools.
I can fix it. No, you can't, Joe.
He would try his best.
Yes, he would. I remember, like, this is kind of just somewhat off subject, but like, I loved taking scenic routes in my car. Like, so I would get late to practice because I would decide instead of taking the highway, I'd drive like 10 miles out of my way or something. So one time we showed up to a practice and we got there and it was too late to practice apparently. But while they were waiting for us, Chris and Joe had put together things and Joe had found an old beat up microphone that he put into a like toy gun handle or something like that. Oh God. Yeah,
props. You gotta have props.
the creativity was yeah.
Did we start Bomb's Lullaby while Bev Clone was still going? Or how did
It was
that work?
like
'Cause
right
it was
around
kinda right
there.
at the end.
Yeah,
of
it was kind of right at the end of Bev Clone. We started Bomb's Lullaby. Like,
Because you were still in that house. And
Yeah.
Like Scott had moved back. We were trying to figure out how to like connect as Bev Clone. I remember
yeah,
that. Like,
yeah.
And I don't remember practicing it all.
Bev Clone would go and practice in Lansing.
Yeah,
though.
we had a weird
You-
arrangement for a while.
Had you already
Oh,
moved to
we were-
Lansing?
No, we were practicing at
No,
that chick's house in
me-
the gym.
Yeah, me and Scotty were in Saginaw Bay City. You guys are still over there, and we would meet in Lansing at my lady friend's house to practice.
That was
Yeah, and it was
Carl
just...
and I would drive from Grand Rapids to
Nah,
Lansing,
there was
and
a
those
lot of-
guys would come.
Yeah,
from
man,
Bay
that's
City
kind of
and
like
Saginaw.
remember
the
smoking
lead
all
of
that
the
joints
demise.
back
We
and
just
forth.
had too many geographical fucking
It was problematic.
things
Yeah.
going on. We were split up. The vibe was separated, but
We
you
tried
know,
to keep
whatever,
it
man.
going
That's just
for a
how it
while.
goes. That's how bands break up, or that's how bands stop, or whatever.
That was kind of the beginning of the end, really.
Yeah,
Was-
especially
was-
at that age and stuff.
Was Tom living at the Bev Clone house as well then, or?
He eventually moved back to Bay City, didn't he?
Yeah, he and Scott moved back
okay.
to Bay City, and Jimmy, you moved back to Saginaw.
yeah, I
at
moved
some
back
point,
with my
right?
parents because I couldn't keep my money. You know what I mean?
It was a lot of it was like kind of a class thing. I think
For
like
sure,
we were
yeah.
pretty working class kids. We
Yeah, there was some
instead of like going to college, I think most of us, like Carl, you graduated from
It
college.
took
and
me
stuff.
forever, but I got you know, I got
Most of
through
us,
Grand Valley, you know.
got real into the music scene and just kind of wanted to do that with ourselves and, would work odd jobs and all kinds of stuff
Yeah.
just to try to make ends meet. And at the Bev Clone house, the rent was so cheap for 5 people, but you take a person or two away, and then all of a sudden you couldn't afford it
Yeah.
anymore. So
Sure.
that kind of stuff was going on. I was trying to like help facilitate people to move through there and pay some rent and stuff. And
And that's when it got kind of flop housey and
Yeah.
kinda weird. And,
yeah, it was not going to sustain itself. That party that kind of ended everything like really needed to happen when it
You know
did. I
what's
just wish
crazy?
no one would have got assaulted.
You know what's
I wish
crazy
we
though
would've gone
is
down
that
way.
neighborhood is totally like nightlife,
Totally
sushi.
gentrified now.
But that house looks exactly the same. That house
it
looks
really?
no different. They made no improvements. Maybe a little paint, but it's still there and it looks the same.
Wow.
The way I recall that house, it was pretty nice though, wasn't it? Like it had a nice big back deck, as I recall, and
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
It was
nice.
fine. Yeah, it was built well. It was two
Big-ass living
apartments side by side, two-story apartments side by side in one house with a driveway and a
Oh.
There was
backyard. and-
another
Yeah.
guy that's lived
There was
over
there was a Vietnam vet who had lived in this apartment that was connected to the Bev Clone house when we moved in.
Put up with that shit.
No, he moved out. He didn't like Bev Clone.
No, he didn't like us too much, but
out, eh?
without much protestation, he just kind of was gone one day, But Yeah, so we kind of had that house to ourselves for most of the time. Bev Clone lived there, and then when Tommy and Scott and Jim moved away, and like Aragorn and Jason Adams came and lived there for stretches of time, and then some of my other friends too from Grand Rapids, like Mike West.
Kreska came to live there for a while.
Yeah, Jay Kreska. That might have been when the meat incident happened with with Aragorn and the pans. But those guys didn't get along very well because they were just like diametrically sort of opposed, you know. Which is funny because like Jay's like come a long way and his like growth as a person and stuff these days. So I think he'd be kind of horrified about being reminded of some of the stuff he used to do. You know, I'm kind of the same way in a lot of ways. I'm horrified by some of the dumb shit I used to do too.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's just part of growing up, though. I mean, like realistically, yeah.
I
don't know. Well, and I think, you know,
fans, what are you going to do?
Going back to the, like, you know, the fact that you guys were a more working class band, I think that kind of like also spoke to, like, I think that might be part of what our bond was, like, is Constantine Sincati. Like, I mean, yeah, Chris's mom owned her own restaurant. She was a restaurateur, I guess, maybe. I don't know if you only own one restaurant, if that's technically a restaurateur or not, but like,
oh, for sure,
the rest of us were definitely like, you know, children of factory workers, and I guess in Ian's case, maintenance man. So
my dad worked for the government, though.
Yeah, so he was a fairly decently paid maintenance man.
Yeah. But speaking of which, we're at like 105 minutes.
Oh shit!
So, and I got to make curry for my lunch this week, so it might be time to.
Hey, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. We got some more questions for you guys. So, Rich, are you in any bands right now, or any musical things going on?
Yes. Kind of. I'm doing a project with some friends of mine who live in Portland, called Slight Return. It's kind of like Dag Nasty. Sounds a lot. The music sounds a lot like Dag Nasty, but I'm yelling over top of it. So.
Are you playing bass?
No, singing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like melodic hardcore with gruff vocals.
Good, right on.
I like it. Rich sent me some.
How do you come up with your lyrics? Or like, what's your writing process as being a singer?
I don't know. I just think about things and then I'm like, okay, I got to try to write about this. So like, for example, one of the songs was written about like my aunt died of COVID, and she was a COVID denier. So I wrote
a song about I already heard that, buddy. Man,
it happens. But
shit gets real.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. Like I just think about it and then I write it.
Do you guys? Is it a recording project or a live thing or like what? What's the plan?
A recording project for now. I'm not opposed to actually playing a show or two. Like it's not that I'm at a point in my life where I could afford to fly out to Portland or whatever
for a weekend of shows or something.
Yeah.
Well, how do you know those guys?
From one of them, I don't know the drummer really, but the guitarist who also plays bass on the project, I knew him because I was in bands with him back when I lived on the East Coast, when I lived in DC for 7 years.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. And Ian, are you playing any bands or musical projects or
not right
artistic
yet?
No?
I'm going nuts. I need to hit something, so yeah, I'm trying to figure out a space to play.
Right? Why don't you go down to play at Christopher's?
I don't know.
It's hard to kind of...
That requires talking, and I don't like doing it.
Yeah, I mean...
That's why I'm on a podcast.
Right, no, I feel it. No, man, I hadn't seen him in 7 years, and I just went back and was like, yeah, cool, man, catch up as buddies, and, you know, but he's still, like, got a cool place. He's got all kinds of gear and guitars and basses and keyboards and fucking everything, man. It's insane.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Really cool studio.
Yeah.
It's hard to connect with people, I've realized, like, over the last few years, just like even
especially the older you get. Yeah.
Exactly. Like each year passed by, like even people that I'm like super close with. I've known this, like my friend Mike, since 8th grade. He lives literally down the road from me, and like connecting with him is like trying to connect with a long lost relative. It's fucking ridiculous. I don't quite get it. I think it's some of the stressors of the time we're in, but I'm not exactly sure.
And does he have a family and all that stuff, like living at home with him or anything, or like does
it's
he
just
have
him and
a bunch of
him
kids?
And his partner and their dog.
Oh, okay.
I think she's very leery of. I think she has a lot of kind of immunity concerns, and she's had like a lot of kind of chronic issues that have probably had led her to a certain mindset of like, let's keep this really. Because I only visited them once, and they were like, "We're gonna meet outside," and I was like, "Oh, okay. Like, we'll only be outside. That's cool." And it was a little tense, but it was fine. Like, they're lovely people, but it's that time, where it's tough to connect with people.
Yeah, and I think that like the older you get, also like you're kind of, I don't know, man. I'm more into hanging out with my wife at home, like.
Sure, man.
But with that said, like, yeah, it'd be nice to have more regular hangouts and such as well. But
I'm always craving like the jam session, man, and then it just it never really ever happens the way I imagine it's going to. or like I finally gotten to where like Jim and I got to play a little bit yesterday, but it was so low key and so like that it was just like we were just I hit the drums, he played the guitar, and like we kind of listened to each other for a bit, and it was cool, and that was it. There's nothing attached to it. It was beautiful.
Yeah, no objectives, no plan, just jamming as friends,
Yeah.
And that's the thing I would say in learning about bands and music. It's just like, the friendship is the key, man. The music and the style and the objective and the plan is complicated, and it has to really be like dealt with sensitively with young people, especially, and why bands break up, and with you guys, maybe with us, same types of things. But now, as adults, older adults who have been through it and know what they need, know what they don't want, know what they don't need. And when we have these jams, it's cool because it's fun, man. We don't have a plan. We don't have to do anything. We can do whatever. We're not playing any shows. We're not putting this out, or you know what I mean? It's cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of doing it the same way, but maybe less organized. just for expression.
Definitely less organized.
Just for exercise.
I mean, and the friendship is actually an important part, I think, for me. And Ian's just a solid drummer, so it isn't as important. But like Ian and I, when Constantine was going to do a reunion like a few years ago, that fell through. But like we got together and jammed in his attic in Chicago, and that felt really, really good. Like.
Yeah.
I think.
Can I say something real quick? This whole conversation, I've been thinking about like how every time I saw Constantine, it would be revealed to me like how fucking incredible a drummer Ian was, because I would just be like, I couldn't accomplish like on any ramshackle piece of shit. You would just be like,
all truth.
And I'd be like, what the fuck?
No,
like,
you
I
guys
couldn't imagine playing that way. And it was like each time I saw you, it was revealed like your musicianship was like stellar, and I was like always in amazement of that. But it worked within the band too. You weren't like trying to show off, but it was like no, it just like all of it just kind of like melded in this way that like revealed each time I saw you this new level of like, holy fuck.
Yeah, that stuff was so amazing. Like, to me, still sonically, musically, there's nothing like it, really. I know people compare things because of maybe the lyrics or the way the songs made people feel and stuff, but really musically, like, it was just like fucking great, man. For
like nothing you ever heard or will hear.
You guys kept getting better and better. Bassist. You guys kept getting better and better.
What was that?
Oh. It pushed me to be a better bassist. I think, and also playing with Chris, like Chris was like he was hard to play with when he was younger, and it's not because he was a bad musician, it was because I was a bad musician, and he had a very specific style. I think his years and years of doing bands, like, and staying on it and touring has obviously been very much to his benefit in terms of his playing. But like, yeah, like playing with Chris and Ian, like I became a much better like bassist throughout the time we were together.
Right.
Yeah.
What
Rich,
about-
I just realized we're outnumbered. We've got the two of us and 3 drummers.
Holy shit.
I always played my guitar like I
Nope.
was drumming on it
Nope.
too. Like
Hey.
I would just like beat on the strings, just like ka-sha.
You're a guitarist in this podcast, man. Hey, so what about Graham? Can we spend 10 seconds?
I don't know what to say. I guess he's like a alt country guy is all I know. Like,
Wasn't he always an alt country guy?
He was an old skull, man. Come on.
yeah, he was an old skull, so
We wanted a few surviving members, huh?
But she told us not to tell anybody that, and then we told everybody.
Well,
oh man,
wasn't proud of
he
it.
hated it. He hated it when we brought up like.
Yeah.
And I remember Jason Wade, bless his heart, like Jason Wade and I in Columbus, Ohio. We decided like because he's like at the time kind of like we were each other's right hand man for a while in that summer of '96.
Yeah,
And-
it's almost
and,
the
like,
resin.
Yeah. And so we were like walking around downtown Columbus, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna make some stickers. And so like we went to like a Kinko's, and he made these stickers that said Constantine Sincati and Resin. One of our bands has a member of Old Skull. And I do not think Graham was amused by that.
Nah, but what a cool dude! Like, what a cool guitar player! Like, interesting kind of Midwesterner. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, people like that are awesome, and they disappear into the cracks of life. You know?
But I mean, he's making a living doing music. I know that. Like, well, at least he was. I don't know if he still is, but like, yeah, he was doing like I think kind of a like Americana sort of / alt country type of thing he was doing. So
Right on.
which makes perfect sense because most of his playing was he was very into playing as acoustic. So like, that would make perfect sense. And the sensibility, even though you couldn't really hear it live because Chris didn't understand dynamics back when he was so it was just like his amp and then everybody else.
Yeah.
So no one could hear me that tour, and like we somehow or another found some audio where we could hear Graham a little bit. He was like adding some interesting like eyebrows to the music.
Yeah, he was whipping out.
Big time. Musically, like I kept saying, you guys getting better and better, and he was, a nice addition to kind of like fill it out and just make it. Did you guys ever record with him or anything? Was just a tour guitarist or like?
Yeah, I don't know if the plan was that. I mean, I don't really know. Like, and it wasn't something I was necessarily against, even though like Graham and I didn't get along too well on that tour. But like, I don't know if it was kind of a tryout to see how he gels with us, and like, because initially we were all going to move to California together, and Chris is the only one who did. No,
man, I did too. No, I just. I mean, that's a good idea in a sense, but I don't know, man. If I wouldn't have moved to California, I might be like stable and.
But remember,
I don't know, but I did, so I'm still the same,
Yeah,
It's like.
but as a band who moved from one place to another city, I think we
really
can speak
work,
from
does it?
experience. Yeah, it doesn't really work.
It doesn't do nothing. No, it's cool. You can't meet Jeff without moving. Jeff from Larvae, fuck, that guy's the awesome. Hey, West Michigan, funkiest dude, still kicking that. Jeff,
Legend.
I love you, Jeff.
JJ Placenta.
JJ Placenta breath. Oh my god. Yeah. I mean,
Hey, well, I'm sure Graham doesn't listen to it, but maybe you guys could send him the link. Hey, Graham, what's happening, man? You're a cool dude. Awesome style, good playing, like good addition to the band. At the end of it. Oh, like, fuck yeah.
we I don't know. We were just falling apart at that point. So
Can we go into I know you want to end this, and I don't want to end it ever. But can we go into the commercial side of this business? How much are you guys' 7 inches going for up on eBay and Discogs and shit?
Not much.
Really?
Not a ton. I mean,
It's like
I think this actually, strangely, the like CD discography is the most valuable thing.
Yeah, people got that. Yeah.
CDs are the new oddball. Like, yeah, CDs are cool, man. They're more rare than tapes and records now.
Nice as hell.
I'm actually, now that you mention it, I'm going to do a search on Discogs to see.
Yeah, do it. No, let's talk about this. It's relevant as to why records should be reissued and why things should be like re-released. Because why should
some collectors get to hog it all.
People who were punks and wanted to sell their single for $3. The album was $6 or $7. You know what I mean? And now it's 130. Like
it's definitely a weird feeling. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not gonna complain too much about it, but it's definitely a weird feeling when it's like I didn't really make any money off of this stuff, which is fine. But
you don't, man.
Yeah, but then you see someone who just buys a record and then flips it, and is making a living off that. I'm not really mad, but it also feels very weird.
Well, speaking of not making any money off of a project, and I mean, and this goes for the label as well. We've got a Bev Clone cassette release coming out, actually.
Yes. Shit, I'm sorry, I forgot to plug that.
Is this it?
Jim's holding up the Gainsay demo.
Can we take a picture of this, bro? Can we take a picture of this to send it to him? Oh my god!
You should. Yeah, I will definitely post that on the IG.
Now I got the photo of the band is my high school ID photo for me as the drummer. Shit. Ben's rocking out at fucking Steamers or somewhere.
Yeah, it was somewhere.
Tom singing, Scotty singing. That was cool, but we were called for a month. We were called Gainsay. Oops. That's important information. For a month, we were called Gainsay. I don't even know what that means.
Thanks list on there.
Well, who are we thanking? Thanks to Round for all the exposure. Thanks for the Sawmill for being dicks. Thanks for Rob B for the ride back. Thanks for Corrosion of Conformity for $41. Oh no, it's a club. Thanks to Gage to Chicago, Illinois for having that name, man.
So we did a thanks but no thanks list.
No, I did it. That's all me, man. I'm sorry. I love all you guys. Muncie rules, Gage rules, everybody rules. Around you, super rule. He's still around in Bay City.
Round in a distant few.
He's still selling records at the flea market.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Oh my god. That's nice. But anyway, so we got this cassette release coming out, Bev Clone. It's the compendium stuff that Matt Weeks has already released online on Bandcamp on his Council Records site. And included with that is going to be a live show that was recorded in Flint on a radio station between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m., I think, one night in July.
Take No Prisoners radio program, WFBE.
Yeah, it was super late at night. And I remember we were coming home from that, and Scott had this F10 Ford pickup truck that we were able to fit some of the equipment in, and me and him were driving home in that, and he got pulled over outside of Flint just for speeding or something, and I remember he had a Drive Like Jehu sticker on that truck. And the cop came up to the window and was like, knocked on it, and Scott rolled it down, and he goes, "What's Drive Like Jehu mean, boy?" Drive like hell? Scott was had nothing to say. It's a band. The cop was just kind of like a band, But we actually, the story kind of made sense to the cop because, we had the equipment in the back and we said we were coming home from a gig, so he just kind of let us go.
And you were driving like Jehu.
Yeah, we were driving like, hell, boy. But it's that kind of that hick kind of accent that you don't just have to be from Michigan or anywhere really has. I think David Cross talks about it in one of his things.
Yeah.
Well, and I think Michigan specifically.
California.
I think in Michigan though it's very common simply because a lot of Southerners came to our state to build vehicles. So there's a lot of that. At one point I remember someone telling me before I had been there, Ypsilanti's like going to Kentucky, but in Michigan.
Ypsilanti, I've heard that.
Dude, that's why they call it Ypsilanti.
That's right.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
Like it's like all the Southerners like moved there for auto plant jobs and just never left. And that's true for like, I mean, I think some of the MC5s, some of them were like, their family were Southern people, you know.
Oh,
like, yeah, like it's weird how much of that accent is like infiltrated like our solidly like Midwestern accent. So there's this weird like kind of twinge of Southernness, especially on the west side of the state, I feel like.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah,
Well, I think this is going to have to be a part, like a two-parter, because this is all. Really good
no,
stuff.
come on,
Like,
man.
seriously, no,
Make
it's-
it a bonus.
Just going
Make
long.
it a bonus episode, the Maxi 11th special 11th episode. You know? Hey, so hold on. Oh man, no, I got questions. I don't have too many stories. Hey, so when you guys recorded with Mike Schur, you recorded how many songs?
Like 7, I think.
And how many came out and how many didn't?
All of them came out
All of them.
eventually.
Yeah.
As different singles, or because that was
Yeah.
a Rick, you sent me that, bro, and that was a good fucking recording,
There's
dude.
nothing
Everything
hidden.
was just blowing up.
Yeah.
A good recording, and that's funny. You got to go to back in the '95 or whatever. You got to go to Mike Schur's house. Now everyone's recording at their house, you know. And back then it was like you had to go to some guy's house, but he had a pretty good thing going. Like it sounded good, man.
Yeah, my biggest complaint is that the bass is, I mean, pretty much non-existent in the mix. Like, it sounds like bass heavy, but like you can't hear anything I'm playing really unless it's just me. And that's partly, you know, the mixing, you know, like
Maybe
but-
just the capacity of the recording device and the the engineering kind of things.
yeah.
But I mean, that was a
speaking
cool
of
place
that-
to play and record because it was kind of,
Yeah, it was
you know,
cool.
it sounded nice. It was cool. It was weird. For us, it was like the cool, like, home studio
We
experience.
got good recording.
Oh, Bev Clone recorded with Mike Schur as well?
Our
Yeah,
our songs on that split were recorded there.
Yeah.
The split,
Yep.
with Constantine, Camp and No Reason, and then the third song we recorded
With Eric
him
Z for the
was
Element comp. Yep.
Element on the Element comp.
Yep.
Do you remember? So was that at his house, Jim?
Yep, in the basement, he had like a little control room. He had a jam room. He had a drum room. He had these different
Yeah.
closets.
Okay,
and
cool.
No,
He
it
had
was
a
cool. It
Frank
was
Zappa
awesome.
poster.
And we met him through like Todd Carter.
Through
right?
Cecil.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cecil.
Hey, did you guys ever record with Cecil?
Maybe.
No, we recorded at the WMU facilities.
But not with him.
With Mike.
Same studio. Okay.
Oh, with Mike
Yeah,
Schur?
what
Yeah.
that song that was on the 23rd, like
Okay.
that was recorded at Western Michigan University, and it sounds horrible.
Nah, man. What
Did you
what
guys
an awesome
record on
studio,
that
but
giant
weird.
stage?
That sound
Yeah,
stage.
no, it's weird. Yeah.
Well, what had happened
what-
is Chris had to like he didn't have a cab with him, so he had to direct in his head to
He
the,
Bob
to
molded
the
it.
board. Yeah, and it literally sounds like a Bob mold like guitar.
Yeah, that's rough, especially back then. That's a rough way to have to record a guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like like it's pretty rough sounding, but like I mean whatever. Like it, I also remember I think I said this on a previous episode when we were recording that at Western Michigan. Like there was a grand piano in the room where we were recording, and I think Joe had the idea. He's like, "Oh, let's do some piano, man." And I remember Ian just straight up being like, "No." Like just fully shutting him down. Like that's the thing is we rarely shut him down, but there were times when we had to. Like
Good job. Good job, Ian.
Nice man.
Because I don't think we ever shut Joe down in that. We were
That was
just
sort
like,
of
okay, Joe, let's do it.
I'm still waiting for my producer credit on that, but it's not going to come.
No doubt.
on what?
On that recording, I'm waiting for my producer credit.
For putting the
Did
foot
you-
down on the piano.
Yeah. Yep.
Who had recorded the Bombs Lullaby? Was that Mike or did Ian record it?
I didn't.
Okay.
That was Mike.
It was Yeah, we
went into
always
Mike's.
worked with Mike.
Yeah.
Hey, so what happened with Mike? Did he go into recording or like develop his?
He's still here, as far as I know. As far as I know, he's
Still
not
there,
too far from here. Actually,
Wow.
I think he just keeps
East side
he
of
just books
Kalamazoo.
people, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah,
He's affiliated with the Western program so
Okay,
much that
good.
he gets to record like all the music students through there.
Hey, that's what it's all
I
about.
think he makes his money that way. So.
He's got clients. That's awesome.
Listen, listeners, if you start planning a career and you record bands in the 90s, you can still do it 20, 30 years later, you know? Just do
Oh,
it.
for sure.
Right on.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
We should wrap this one up, probably, huh?
Yeah.
I keep gesturing wildly and pulling my headphones out of my
Hey, you guys are awesome. I love the podcast. Love the Joel Wick episode. Love Joel Wick. Fuck yeah, man. You know what I mean? Like, right on,
Yeah,
man.
I guess we should we should probably not leave this podcast before we say thanks, a big thanks to Joel Rash.
Yeah, from Flint. Yeah.
Joel from Flint.
All the Joels.
Yeah, there was Wick in Kalamazoo and Rash in Flint, and Joel Rash has just been such a huge fixture and just scene maker, person who's just been able to keep things going in Flint and on that east side of Michigan for 30 years or something. I think the Flint locals been around for 35 or 40 years and going on, so it's something else. But fucking awesome. Love Joel and the whole Flint crew, and that's one thing that kind of gets left out a lot. About Bev Clone, when Matt Weeks was putting the Bev Clone stuff up on the council's Bandcamp thing, I told him, Bev Clone were from Bay City, Saginaw, and Grand Rapids, and it only let him put 2 cities. So of course he picked Saginaw and Grand Rapids.
Okay.
And Bay City ended up being left out on that one.
Which makes no sense.
Yeah, because the majority of us were from Bay City.
Really,
actually,
'cause it started in
3
Bay
of us.
City.
Yeah,
Well,
Tommy, Scott, and I.
Saginaw Bay City is what I should say.
Yeah, and
Well,
so anyway,
Thanks, Joel.
that east side of the state, and then of course, just mentioning rest in power to Tommy Jenkins.
yes,
Thanks,
absolutely.
Tommy.
One of the greatest people,
love to Tom.
that's been in my life. So really love Tom and all he was able to do to kind of.
Is there a Bandcamp link? Is there a Bandcamp link to that band you did with Tom?
To the
By any
band I
chance,
did
Ben,
with
or-
Tom?
Yeah, after
no,
Bev
we
Clone,
didn't. Yeah, we didn't record anything. He had a band after Bev Clone called the Sea.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah, they're really good, super good. It's just the word for the ocean, the sea, the sea. People could look it up that way or whatever. I don't know if they're on Bandcamp even, but
they're really
Tommy and I were in a band up until the time he passed away, actually, and. That band didn't really record. We were more kind of doing the fun, jam in the basement for hours and not really accomplish a whole lot. I think we had written maybe 6 songs in 2 years. So yeah, it wasn't really going anywhere at the time, but we were just having a lot of fun, getting together and doing that. It kind of became a bit of a nice escape or ritual to sort of relieve stress and all that kind of stuff. It worked well for that, but that was about it.
Well,
I want to say, I miss Tom. I miss the funny humor, I don't know, man. Tom was an awesome singer because he wasn't a musician. He just was a guy that got in with bands and he was singing, and his style was unique. It was passionate. It was
He just figured out a way to do it.
He did it, and it was cool, and it was so attractive, and I miss it, man. And it was he made people in the crowd feel uncomfortable because he was so weird, and he would look at people and get tough and get emotional and look at us, and it was cool, man. I miss that guy, and he did it. He wasn't a musician, but he had a cool impact in music, and that just went to be normal, married and career. You know what I mean? But those are the best guys, man. The guys who aren't musicians are just artists or creative people with passion, and they make awesome singers, dude. I miss Tom. Love that guy. Love his family. Love his bros. All those guys, man. One love.
well, and let me ask you, I should have asked this earlier, but so obviously on the first 7-inch it was very Fugazi influenced, like down to Tom's vocals actually.
Yeah.
But, like
Yeah.
then you kind of sort of moved in, like with the split with us, it was kind of like Universal Order or not Universal Order, Union of Uranus. Like it was kind of going in that direction. Was that like, I assume that was a conscious decision where you guys had sort of heard
We were just taking in all the
Rorschach and
influences.
stuff.
Right. No,
We were taking in
I think it was
everything we were
organic,
learning
yeah.
about and finding in the scene at that time.
Right, finding records and playing with bands that, in the scene that was more punk, we had to kind of kick it up, it's just all those things, like being influenced and being, like, pressured, or not pressured, but, like, insecure. Okay, we're the band from out of town in this new scene.
Yeah.
We're not that punk, we're not that, we're just weird, we're kind of just whatever, but people like
We're
this.
just trying real hard.
Yeah, no, we got good. Hey, man, like I'm saying about you guys, it took you guys a couple of years to get fucking super good. Same with us. We took a couple of years, and then we're a good band, and people could get it,
Yeah, that live recording that's coming out on the tape from that radio show is from early '94, and it's real different. It only has "Milk Drinker" as the song that's on it that's been released before.
It's a Bev Clone song, right?
Yeah, all the other songs haven't been released, or I haven't heard of them.
they're
in
more-
25
Wow.
years.
Yeah.
And they sound like there's like one that sounds exactly like Fugazi. There's one that sounds like the Jesus Lizard. There's one that sounds like Tar. It's just all the bands that we were being influenced by at the time when we were still on the east side of the state.
Yep.
And then we moved to Grand Rapids and got to meet, go on that Canada circuit and meet, those folks in Detroit and everything, and you guys and Kalamazoo, and we were synthesizing all of that stuff then, and so it sounds completely different from that live recording to the compendium stuff.
That
to
was
the
like
stuff that was
a turning
7
point.
inches.
We were a band, we were working, playing a lot of shows, playing some shows that were pretty cool, and we had a set that was pretty cool, but we were still developing, I don't know, man. When we moved to Grand Rapids, we were like, let's just be a little more punk, fuck it, be a little more noisy or extreme.
Yeah, we wanted to be more
But
extreme.
the Flint recording from that program, we were tight, man. Everything was worked out. It was a pretty good recording for a live radio program from a place that isn't there,
That was
WFBE
really
Flint. The Take No Prisoners, 760-1148. That's the telephone number. 31.
So are the
Michael.
pre-orders live for that, by the way, yet, or?
No, I don't think so. I think he's going to release everything at once. He's talking about July 1st as a date. The I'm talking about is Charlie Murphy. Charlie Murphy's from Ann Arbor, and he runs a tape label called Beginner's Tapes. And so it's coming out on cassette. It's coming out on a double cassette thing, and then also there's going to be some limited vinyl pressings of the live stuff. So
Well, you should definitely get me when at some point before we release this a link, just so we can link it, and we'll obviously put your Bandcamp too. But
Cool,
it's
thank you.
pretty awesome. I think Matt Weeks told me he's going to get a few of the late cuts, so I'll either buy it directly from Charlie Murphy or I'll buy it from Matt.
Yes. Say what's up to Matt, man. Man, that's cool. 90s.
Yeah, I'm seeing them in
90s
July.
ruled, man. The people who are still around still appreciate it and still push it and are holding it as a historical,
yeah.
Have you listened to Matt's new band, by the way, Jim? Or
I haven't heard it. What's it called?
Wrong War?
more.
Okay.
It's really good. It's really good.
It's a Chicago band?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I go there a lot. I want to try to check it out. Roll through.
They're playing
When's-
with Verbal Assault coming up.
Yeah,
go.
they're playing with Verbal Assault in July.
Will you be around?
I'll be
Let's go.
there.
I'll go, dude.
Let's go.
I was just talking to Rich
Yeah.
about trying to go.
Sure, road trip.
Nice.
Yo, if you guys do, dude, that'll be sick. It'll be so
Are you
awesome. I'll
going?
have so many Michigan. Oh, yeah.
Oh, good.
I'm driving up to Michigan, and then me and my brother-in-law are driving to Chicago for the show. And actually,
We give me a ride, Rich?
yeah, that's cool. I'm down.
Heard it here first.
Cool. That's going to be awesome. Let's do it. It's like a new rendezvous. Let's do it.
All right,
Hey,
Ian's got to get
that's
some plane
awesome.
tickets.
Matt's
Yeah,
awesome.
you got to get up some plane tickets.
Flint's awesome. Kalamazoo's awesome. Grand Rapids pretty cool. You know, like, man, fuck it.
It's like
Good Michigan represent, yo.
Yeah.
the Tribe Called Bev Clone World Tour.
Yeah, we love Scotty. He's not here. He's doing his thing, but we love Scotty, man.
Hell yeah.
Scotty's awesome.
Scott
Rest in
of
peace,
US.
Tommy. We love you, Tommy. Flint, man, it's all good. Kalamazoo,
Good town.
everything. Good stuff.
Old Jamestown Hall.
No, it's a
Oh, shit, we didn't even
Saginaw.
talk about
Yeah, no, we don't.
We don't need to.
All right, that's a different episode.
Shut
No, but Kalamazoo's awesome. Joel Rash, fucking awesome dude. Joel Wick, fucking awesome dude.
Too many
You know,
Joels.
Constantine, awesome band. Like, glad you guys are doing it, bringing up the stories. What up, Andy? You know what I mean? Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah. Well,
All right.
on that note, I need to do my laundry. So
Awesome.
Sunday night, gotta get ready for the week.
yeah, yeah.
Hey,
I gotta
love,
make curry. I gotta clean my clothes.
thanks, Chris. Love you, bro. Thanks, Ian. Love you, dude.
Yep.
Yeah,
You
hey,
guys-
Love
take
you
it
guys.
easy, guys.
Thanks,
Bye.
Rich, at the end.
Peace.
Take.